sit here today, as we stand here today at the end of another session, we are always reminded that this place is a strange place, and the things that happen usually never happen in the way that you imagine they're going to. But I can say pretty definitively that the success and the record of accomplishments that we can point to as a leadership team and as a Republican caucus is really unmatched over the course of the last few years. And so I'm proud of our team, proud of our guys and gals who stepped up to the plate in an effort to help Missouri. I would take questions.
Senator Schatz, no one doubts that some of the big things that were done this session have been hanging for a long time. PDNP, gas tax, the Wayfair bill.
Sure.
But the biggest failure of this session is the FRA renewal. And last night, you were the only member of the top three Republican leadership to vote with Senator Onder and prevent a clean FRA from being debated on the floor for a potential final vote. My understanding is that you had made a promise to stick with the other members of your leadership team on that vote. What changed?
You know, obviously, coming into this at late in the evening, 3:30 time frame. As I watched the vote come down, it was apparent on the prevailing side. It's a very difficult vote to be in a position of voting against pro-life measures, and the calculation was this vote was going to be unsuccessful, and I voted on the prevailing side.
A 15-15 would have defeated that motion.
It was
16-14.
It was 15. I believe the vote was 15-13. Is what the vote total was.
It was announced as 16-14, and you voted for it. It's 15-15. A vote would have tied would have lost.
Again, at the time, I think at the time, whenever I stood up and cast my vote, it was 14-12. Senator Washington had not entered the chamber yet. A verification was called at that time, and I chose to vote the way that I did. She walked in, the verification was she was allowed to vote. At that point, that changed the dynamic in the number.
And look, at the end of the day, we're going to pass an FRA. We know we have until September 30th to pass it. Clearly we would like to have figured out a better way to get through that logjam. But at the end of the day, at a special session, at whatever time that is, we'll get the thing done and we'll continue on a path of continuity as it relates to the FRA.
Well, to follow up on Rudy's question, what does it say about this session that you accomplished real substantive things that you've been wanting to do for years, but you couldn't do something that was seemingly routine as passing an FRA?
I mean, look, I think, again, the Senate is a unique place with 34 very, very unique personalities. I think any notion that because we didn't do something that doesn't have to be done until September 30th is somehow a failure, I think is a misclassification. I think it's a very short-sighted view of things. We are standing here today, standing on the top of a record of accomplishments, conservative accomplishments, things that we've worked for decades, in some cases as it relates to education reform, to get across the finish line. And so, there are always going to be successes. There are always going to be failures. Usually most of the successes and the failures don't overshadow each other. We're going to pass an FRA by September 30th, and so now we have our record of accomplishments, plus we have that continuity.